Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the 14th edition of the CoveritLive University Web Series. My name is Spencer Kitley, and I am the Customer Success Manager with CoveritLive. We appreciate you joining us today for the latest webinar, and we look forward to sharing some great information, tips, in CoveritLive 3.10. But before we get started, I want to provide you with a brief overview of the format of today's CoveritLive University. We expect this webinar to last about 30 minutes, and at its conclusion, we will take questions over the telephone. You can also submit them during the chat through the WebEx client chat window, which is the green tab at the top of your screen, and our staff members will answer those during the session. Tomorrow, this webinar will be posted on the web where you can view it again or refer it to others. Once we've archived this edition of CILU, you will receive an email from us. I also want to remind you that you can email us at any time, support@coveritlive.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter @CoveritLive. And now, I'd like to introduce the host of today's webinar, the General Manager of CoveritLive, Ben Schneider.
Thanks, Spencer. As mentioned, what we'll be covering today is how to best utilize some of the new features that have been provided in some recent updates to CoveritLive, including the new pinning and responsive design, as well as some other changes that are a little more subtle that you may or may not have noticed, including the ability to now have live scores based on the top 25 for college football, and the ability to include Instagram video inside your CoveritLive event. So there's a number of other improvements. We'll touch on those, and we'll also show some examples of how you can put these features to use to enhance your events. So first, and one of the major new features that came out recently in 3.10 for CoveritLive in the past several weeks is the ability to pin content. And with the new pinning capability, you can take any existing piece of content inside your CoveritLive stream, or even a new piece of content that you created on the fly, or a piece of content from the smart stream or one of the searches, and pin them to the top of your event. You can add that content directly, and now that'll be featured at the top of your stream while the other updates are maintained below it. This is great to feature a specific piece of content. Maybe a user has provided a particularly great comment, insightful tweet. Maybe you have a streaming video or video clip that you want to highlight at the top of the event, or a photo or something like that. You can have more than one item pinned, up to 3 total, and depending upon how you set up your viewer window experience, it can show in a few different ways, including our new pin board, which sits just on top of the event automatically with the embed code, or in a collapsible format if you're using the traditional CoveritLive window. I'll show a few examples of these. It's easy to manage from the event studio. You can pin and unpin things. You can go back and look at things that you pinned in the past but taken down if you need to review those and re-add them at any point. And there's a lot of great use cases. The pinning is pretty robust and can also be really useful if you're covering something live, like a new breaking news, and you want to feature video or photos at the top. But it also can be used in other ways. So say, for example, you're running a Q&A session, and you want to pin a question at the top that you want to ask the rest of the audience or the viewers to contribute to. So maybe you have a host or a featured expert on, and you want to allow users to feedback with them. You can post answers if they provided the key questions, or you can post questions to the audience. So in addition to featuring rich media and content, and then having your updates below it, it's also useful for driving the conversation and highlighting particular areas and topics that you want to talk about. Now we'll jump actually over into our demo session. I'm using our CILU demo ticker that we've used in a lot of our previous sessions, and I'll show a few examples of how pinning works. So here I am, I'm inside the event studio. I've got some Twitter content flowing in automatically from CoveritLive. One of the simplest things you can do is take an existing update and pin that directly from within the window. You'll get a nice notification that the item's been pinned, and then if you look in the upper right, you'll see that there's one item pinned, and now the pinned area, you can click on that to review it. So now I can see my published pins, and I can also see the unpublished pins, which we'll see in just a minute whenever I take some of these down. For the viewer experience, if I jump over into our ticker, is my event on a hosted channel page for CoveritLive, and here's the item that I pinned right up here at the top for everyone to see very easily. So that will remain persistent until I take it down or replace it or make some adjustment. So that pinned item shows up instantly. It's very easy to see, and other updates continue below, as you can see. Now let's say I want to publish another item. I can take something directly from the smart stream, and here's an example of an Instagram photo that I had queued up. I had previously found it and searched for it in Instagram, and then I'd use the tagging functionality to tag it, and now it's there ready for me in the smart stream. And now let's say I want to pin that item to the top of the event. So once I pin that, I now have two items that will show up. I get another successful message. And if I look, I've got my tweet that I originally pinned as well as this photo. If I jump back over into the viewer view, you can see both of these items on top of the event. So they'll remain persistent and everyone can see them really easily. Let's say though that I want to swap the order of those and I'd like the picture to be first. Well, I can do that as well by simply clicking to edit the order and then hitting the arrows to rearrange the items. And once I'm done with reordering, I can click Save. And then my new order will be represented both in the Event Studio as well as in the event. Now again, I can add up to 3 items. You'll notice here it shows how many are currently published, 2 out of 3 of max. So now let's also add a video. And this time I'll do it directly from the search. So I searched YouTube for some NFL 2013 videos. Just like normal, I could tag this, I could publish it directly, I could put it in the smart stream, or I could publish it directly to a pin. By simply using the pinning icon shortcut on the menu bar. Once this item is added, just like the others, it'll show up at the top. It'll show that I have 3 items pinned. And I can see those from the Event Studio. My tweet, my video, and my photo. And they're also added into our viewer experience, our ticker from the channel page and from the viewer window. They may wonder what these look like in a traditional embed whenever you're not using a channel page or some of the new embed options that we've made available in the release. Here's an example of a traditional iframe embed with the pinned items at the top. You can see that they're collapsed, and I can click to view them, but I have a notification that they're there, and it shows all 3 items. I can scroll through and see all 3, and then I can hide them back, and continue to go on and look at the rest of the updates. So users will know, and when items are first published, they get a nice pin notification is popping up here, and they can click and view the items and see them, but it still preserves the space you have in the page. Since using the traditional iframe, you don't have as much space to work with, and we don't want to cover up the other live updates. Now when you're ready to remove some of these items, or swap them out or change them, it's very easy to do. All you do is simply come in, click the pinned button to see your pinned items, which you can close or open at any time from within the Event Studio, and then simply click to unpin. You'll receive a confirmation, which you can dismiss moving forward, or you can keep it there to make sure you're always warned before unpinning something. And then that particular pinned item is removed. But notice that it's moved to the unpublished pinned area. You can always find it again really quickly and repin it, or make any other changes that you would like. Now I just have my 2 main items pinned, and similarly I can take each of those out. Now when we jump back over to our live experience, go back to 1 pinned item on both our traditional embed as well as our channel page and incident scroll view. So as you can see, whether it's content that you've searched for from one of the social searches, from the smart stream where maybe you've tagged it and queued it up, or something that's already been published in the event that you want to feature, you can very easily pin anything quickly. But there's also another option. Let's say that you want to enter something on the fly. You can simply click in the box right above the area in the pin section in the Event Studio. You can type something in, just like whenever you're doing a normal update, a normal post from within the CoveritLive Event Studio, and whenever you're making a blog post or putting content in, you can do that inline right up here in the pinned area. You can also add media directly from this section as well, and have it published directly to a pin. So now I've got my multiple pinned items up here again. I can close the window if I don't plan to add any more for now. And you can see the video and my direct text entry that was published directly to a pin. I look back over on our live page, and there was my new item. And you can see it over here in the traditional embed as well. You'll also notice some nice ways that the traditional embed will collapse and display the pins whenever they're not taking up a whole lot of vertical space. And I'll show a quick example of that. So now I'm going to remove my video. And we should have one pin remaining, which is the one that I provided directly into the screen. And you can see where there's enough room to show the pinned items, they'll still show, and they'll display up at the top. And then I can scroll through the updates and see those, or I can collapse them on my own. And then as other new updates are added, we'll see those show up as well. So again, I can see both items and actually keep them open and scroll through and still see the ongoing live updates coming as well. So pinning provides a lot of flexibility. It provides you a lot of great use cases to encourage the audience to engage, to ask them questions, or to feature key content, whether it's video, photos, media, or from some of the past sessions that we did where we talked about embedding rich content like maps, interactive maps, or graphs from Google, or even videos from other sources outside of Event Studio, such as Brightcove or Vimeo, or any other source where maybe you have your own custom streaming video that you want to embed at the top of the event for users to watch while they're engaging. Now I'm going to append these last few items and leave us with just one video left. Again, you can see I can come back at any point and see my unpublished pins that I've removed. I can also clear all of these if I want to make this list clean again. But it provides a nice, quick, and easy way for me to go republish something back to the pinned area. So hopefully you'll find there's a lot of great uses out of pinning, a lot of different ways that you can feature new content and engage with users inside of your event. You'll also see that we've gone through a lot of work to make it an enjoyable experience regardless of how CoveritLive is embedded on your page. So if you're in a fairly small window with only a limited amount of height, then users will still see those pin items, they can get to them, but they also have the control on their own to collapse them whenever they're ready to go and see other updates. If you have a channel page where you have the new embed that we'll show in just a minute that gives you more of a full page option with CoveritLive, then the items will be placed in the pin board up at the top of the screen with your updates persistent below, which provides a great experience and a way for you to easily follow along the key updates that you're providing ongoing, but also reference the material that you want sticking to the top of your page. So now jumping back in, we'll talk about the new embed, which I mentioned just a minute ago. The new embed code gives you a lot of flexibility for how you display events and streams on your site, and it gives you a great deal of control over your mobile and responsive use of CoveritLive as well. The new embed code provides a number of new features, including the ability to have flexible width or percentage width, to have an infinite height, and so that way the event continues to add content into the page without having a scroll bar, and for you to control exactly how your pinning layout looks with using the pin board or not, and some other key flexible features, like whether or not you want to apply a skin, whether you want your new entries in the top or the bottom, and whether you want to use the title page. Now, all of those examples were features that were available to you before to customize your event, but you had to do them in this template. And once you picked your template for your event, you couldn't change those, and you couldn't go get a new embed code that had different settings, which oftentimes can be problematic, particularly if you wanted to syndicate the event to other sites or display it in a different way on different pages. So now you have the flexibility not only to have these great full-page views of CoveritLive with infinite scrolling or with responsive design that fill the width of the screen made available to them, but you also have the ability to customize the experience for different places on your site. So you can have one full-page version of CoveritLive on one page, then you can have a smaller, more traditional iframe version or a version with a title page or without the pin board available on a sidebar or on a home page as a teaser. You can also customize the skin so it can match the look and feel of other sites differently, or even different sections of your own site than it does where the primary event may be held. So there's a lot of great features here, a lot of great examples. And again, as I mentioned, it also makes responsive design much easier to support. With CoveritLive before, you could do responsive design, but you would have to customize the embed code on the fly to change the height and width to match your responsive layout. But now you don't need to do that. There's variables automatically included that indicate infinite height and infinite width, and they will adjust to whatever the height and width of the cell or the area on the page containing CoveritLive has given it. So you can embed them in your native responsive design, and it will automatically take up the right amount of space, making it where you don't have to do any customized coding of the embed. You can see a few examples here how this displays and looks on mobile and gives you a much cleaner layout and a much easier way to navigate for your users. I'll walk through a few examples of setting this up and where you access it. And you'll also see that it now comes with a new way to build your events, a new event designer that essentially gives you the option to preview your settings. So I'm going to go edit our ticker. And you'll see when I scroll down to installing the view window, there's now a new section for the embed code. There's one tab for embed code, and then there's another tab for the legacy embed code. And this is a traditional iframe that we've had in the past. You can set your width and your height. You can indicate whether or not title pages should be on or off, and where entries should be, whether they should be on the top or the bottom for new entries. And all those are standard like before, and you can still grab that code and use it on your site in a traditional way. Some CMS systems will only allow iframes and they won't allow JavaScript, so you may have to use the legacy embed code for those systems. So if you're using some particular hosted blogging tool or CMS and it keeps stripping out certain pieces of the code and the new embed code doesn't work, try the legacy embed code. And it may be something on your system not allowing JavaScript. So in that case, the legacy embed code will still work. However, for most systems and more modern systems, the new embed code is the way to go because of the flexibility. So you'll see here I can set my height and width. I'm going to adjust this down a little bit. Notice that the preview adjusts and shrinks down relative to what I put. I can also adjust the height and see that change as well. And I'm actually going to switch to the 100% width and the infinite height, and you can see those changes previewed as well. Whenever I do that, some other settings automatically change to what we feel is the best for the best experience, including the pinboard being on, and new entries being on top, and then whatever skin you've used most recently will be available as the default. So if I change any of these options, let's say I go back to my set fixed width and height, and I can turn on my cover page, I can turn the pinboard off so it works in the collapsed view like I showed you in the sample a little while ago. And then I can put my new entries back on the bottom. So now you can see a sample, a preview of how all of this works, change these settings and get an idea. You can also apply a skin. So we'll do no skin as an example, or we'll apply, let's say, the text skin. I can grab my embed code, and I'm going to go put it in a blogging post, so that way you can see it on another site. So now I've pasted the code, I've saved the entry. And here you can see all my settings. So it has my title page, it's using the width and height that I supplied, which were fixed, and it's using the skin that I provided as well. So you can see that it can work that way on one page and in one area where I posted. But if I switch over and look at the traditional embed on another page and reload that, you'll see that it uses different settings. It didn't show the title page, it didn't change the height and width, and it didn't use the other skin. So this is a great example of how I can now have different layouts on different pages and have the event look completely different depending upon where I want it pasted. Now if I jump back over and adjust some of these settings and show you how all of the new responsive layouts look, we'll change to infinite width, infinite height. We'll turn off our title page, and we'll go with no skin, rather the clean skin. Now I can grab that embed, go re-edit my post, save it, and reload my page. And now you see a completely different layout from that same event just by changing those embed options. So now it's using a different skin. It is infinite height, and as new entries come in, it will continue to grow. The width is 100% designed based on my setting. And I can also see how it will change if I click into a live post. I'm going to grab one more example. We'll make one more set of updates, and I'll show you how these can work differently, even the same embed, but whenever used in two different pages, like on a blog post. So we've got our embed code. I'll edit my post one last time. Paste it in and update it. And now we'll reload, we'll see the new posts, we'll see the new embed with our pinned items. Infinite scroll, the pin board is available at the top for any items that I've pinned. And again, it's a different layout, even a different order and a different skin than what's happening over here in my traditional embed, which I can also change and customize, or even use another new embed code, but just with different settings. Now notice that this is on a blogger site as an example, and it's on the preview page showing all the posts. Whenever I jump into a specific post, or whenever I go back, actually this is inside the specific post, but whenever I go back to the home page, it'll be embedded there in the preview version as well, but the width is smaller, given the layout, and the height is now included at a maximum height based on what's available, but with my other posts that are already included in the blog. So it automatically adjusts based on how much available width and height are given to me in the page. So again, you can see how this can be used with responsive designs. If you were to look at this on an iPad or a phone, it would fill up those spaces as well. And it makes it work really nicely for mobile layouts and for more responsive layouts that you want to have a fluid layout or a flexible way to display the event in the page and have it fill up the full width and height. But then if, say, you want to use it on a right rail or on a home page or on a teaser, you can still constrain the height and width. You can even use a different skin, a different template, or a different layout for the skin, and have it look completely different in different portions of your site or on different pages, or even syndicated across multiple sites. So hopefully you can see with these flexible layout options, it gives you a way to present your events in a much more elegant way, in a way that can match the look and feel of your site much better and have a much more engaging experience with your users. On top of that, it allows you to reuse the embed code in different ways that you couldn't do before. As mentioned previously, you have to change those settings in the template, and you cannot change the template once the event was live. Now you can, and you can adjust the embed code anytime you want and reuse it any different way you want, as many times as you want, even once the event's already live, across multiple sites, across different locations, even on your own site. So it's very flexible. It gives you more mobile capability and also the ability to tailor your events more specifically to different uses across your site. So a couple of other enhancements I will point out. Mentioned that the Instagram now supports video, and with that you automatically have the ability to pull Instagram videos directly from the Event Studio, just like you do photos. I'll show a quick example of this. You'll notice here that you now have a checkbox to include videos or not. So if you don't want to include any videos inside of your search results, then you can simply uncheck the box, and you'll get photos only. But if you do want to include videos, then you can uncheck it, and you will see videos that come up in the results as well. So most of these are photos, and as we scroll down, you can see an example of a video right here. And just like YouTube, there are the other video formats like Vine, etc., that are now integrated with Event Studio. You can preview the video directly from within the Event Studio. And then if you want to, you can publish that into the event. And of course, using the new pinning capability, if it's an Instagram video that you want to feature at the top, you can pin it. So this gives you a lot more flexibility, allows you to take advantage of the new functionality that Instagram's introduced with videos, and now incorporate that directly into your event, just like you can with Vine and Twitter or YouTube. Another minor enhancement that may be really helpful for some of you running sporting events is the ability to now have scoreboards based on top 25 for NCAA football. Previously, whenever you went to add a scoreboard and you chose your type, we'll first choose live scores and then college football. Once you pick college football, you had to pick by conference. So, say, for example, you could pick the Big 12 and then see the most recent day's games, which will always update according to the games that are most recent or current. You could also pick your default teams. But say you didn't want to cover just a particular conference and you wanted to cover the top 25, you didn't have that option available, but now you do. Right in there listed with the conference, you can select top 25, and then you can keep it on most recent days games to always update to the current days or most recent games, and then you can still pick your default team based on the current top 25 rankings. And then once you publish your scoreboard, it'll be available, and the ticker running the scores will show you the scores for the top 25. So this is a great feature, makes it very easy if you're covering college football and college sports and you want to feature these scores easily. You can now do that without having to do it only by conference. It gives you more flexibility. So hopefully you'll find that with the new pinning capability, you have a lot of opportunity to engage your users, to get them to get more involved in the conversation, ask them questions, or feature the best of their content, whether it's a tweet or a comment that you think is really compelling, or to provide them with key updates and information, whether it's in the form of tweets or text content that you provide directly or pull from the screen, or photos and videos, whether it be from Vine, YouTube, Instagram. And then you can feature those at the top of the event, making it easy to find, something that users can track while the other updates happen continuously. I think this will be a really beneficial feature. It will make it really easy for you to put the best content up at the top of the event and make your users find the events even more informative and engaging by being able to track those updates easily. Also, along with that, the new responsive design and the new flexibility of the new embed code gives you a great deal of functionality, both in enhancing your mobile experience, but also in using the CoveritLive embed in a number of different ways across your site or across other sites that you may be working with, and customizing and tailoring the functionality and the experience to match your pages better. Hopefully those capabilities you'll find a great deal more value and engagement with your audiences, and then also featuring Instagram video and the top 25 scoreboards also just adds some more convenient and more compelling content to your events. Hopefully you found these things to be helpful. And always, if you have any questions about these features outside of the context of the event or the webinar today, you can always follow up with us at support@CoveritLive. And we've also had some great blog posts and features on the CoveritLive website, coveritlive.com/blog, where we talk about these features and how you can use them and even show some examples. So always check those out. They're great resources, as well as the support center on CoveritLive, and we also feature those through Twitter and Facebook, where you can follow us or like us and get those updates as well. As a quick reminder, next CoveritLive University will be Thursday, October 24th, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Stay tuned for the upcoming topic, where we'll look to feature some more key updates, or if you have feedback that you would like to provide to us, we'd love to hear that as well. And we're always looking for things that are most interesting to you around what would be helpful, whether it's ways to use existing features or whether it's a demo or walkthrough of how some of the features work, or a combination of all of those. So feel free to provide us feedback, but stay tuned and we'll provide you with some additional information on what those topics will be very soon. So we'll see you in October for those, same time, and plan for that on October 24th, and check your inboxes for more details.